Hey Rangers, today we have the Figma 348, which is Fubuki from KanColle, and this is the re-release. I don't know why they released a second one so early on in the series, but yeah, apparently I think it's mainly to do with a repaint, but we're going to be doing a comparison much later on in the future. So let's start off with, first of all, you get a lovely big window box there. You can see the figure, you can see all her accessories and two faces. Then you have a lovely picture of her. On the back, you can see everything that she can do, so different poses, different faces, and on that side you have a really nice look. Then on the top, again, her happy face, and on the bottom, her happy face. So let's open this bad girl and have a look inside. So these are all the things that you get with Fubuki. You get the actual figure itself, you get an assortment of hands, a hand cannon, then you've also got her different faces, you get this particular engine thing, then you also get the stand, you get an extra joint, and then you also get the kind of like attachment to go onto the stand. So here is Fubuki, and she's not a bad figure, to be honest. I really like her kind of playful face. It's very soft. Now again, I'm guessing the original release was a little bit different. I don't know why, but again, comparison video much later on. Her hair drapes down to her face and again kind of frames it really well. Her happy face. I don't see teeth. I thought they may have put some teeth in so you could see. But then we go down to a school uniform, which again the colours are very like navy, as well as like this kind of greyish kind of colour too kind of work. You kind of think they would have made it the same colour as her ribbon, which is just here. And again, you've got kind of lines, which like the other figures that we've seen, like these are actually attached to the actual outfit, so there's no kind of change there, which is actually really nice. I really like the kind of detail that you see in her shirt, where it's been kind of ruffled and it looks like she's actually properly worn it, rather than being a complete like plastic straightness, which would then make the figure quite boring. As we come down to the lower parts of the body, we see the skirt is absolutely fine. It's got some creases, so it looks like it's been worn, and I don't know if it's just underneath there. We see some like kind of white just rolling around there. I really like the kind of her ammo, her missiles or guns. I think that works really, really well, and I love the fact that the kind of like the harness is going around her leg. It actually gives the figure kind of a bit more, oh, that's really cool. The one thing I have noticed is on my one there, because it's obviously the seam, I don't really like that kind of gap. I kind of thought they would have moved it across or kind of painted it a little bit better, but I really do like the kind of missiles here on both of the hands there. It looks just really cool. Her hands and the joints are absolutely fine. The same colour. I know in previous ones that we've seen they've been slightly in off colour, but so far it all looks absolutely great. As we come down to her shoes, I've got to admit I actually really like this design. I really like the fact that it looks like she's a proper warship, or you know, a really powerful boat. They actually look really cool, like kind of like robot feet as well. I really like the kind of anchor here, and then again we have the anchor just there. Now I thought that you could have put more weight in them, and it's really nice also seeing, if you can see just here and here, the metal pin rather than the plastic pin. But I really wish these were kind of more weighty. I think that would be kind of cool. She stands up okay as it is now, but it looks like she's kind of lopsided going that way. But if you try and like pose her in any other way, it kind of like goes, oh, doesn't really work. It kind of looks like she's leaning to one side. So obviously I think you have to kind of spend time just to adjust her. Now as we look at the back of the feet, I've got to admit it's kind of cool. I wish these could, do they move? Oh no, it would be really cool if these moved slightly. But then you've got this tiny little piece of plastic that kind of like points out. Now I'd be kind of really careful, because if it falls over, you don't want them to kind of break. It looks a little bit flimsy. You can see the joint, which is just underneath here, but looks kind of weird because you think that they would have made it into like kind of a foot. You can see the foot here, but you kind of think they would have made it all proper down there. I really like the blue and the white of her socks, and again as we move up we see the certain joints as we do in all Figma figures. So when we look at the back of the figure, I've got to admit I like the holster type effect here that you can see the buckles just there and there. They're very, very subtle. Also with the missiles there, and again with a crease in her skirt. But to me, when looking at this, because it's brand new out of the box, it does look a little bit dirty. Like it's just there, you can see it in the light, and I don't know why. You can't see it on the figure, but in the light you can see it, and I'm a bit kind of like, oh, on that one. It feels like it was kind of rushed, or it just got a bit dirty in transit, or when they were putting it inside the box. So when looking at the back of the figure, here is very, very smooth, and it kind of makes me think, oh, They've not really put any kind of time into it. They could have put hair strands going down. To me, it just looks like a Malteser. I don't know why, but you've got the cute little kind of ponytail right there, and then you've got here, you've got the lovely white on kind of like a grey. I kind of really wish that this was normal, not just kind of like off-color green. I don't know if that's in the anime itself. We've got the blue and white stripe on both of them, as we've noticed before. And again, this is where you put in her kind of attack, her kind of like parts of a boat. Just like with all other figures, let's have a look at how the stress test works and see if it's okay. So her feet move up and down, but I don't think you can... Yeah, oh yeah, you can turn it down, but you have to be really careful because, as I said before, you don't want this to kind of break off. So that I'm being careful. I'm not going to spin it all around. For what it looks like, it can do, but just be really careful. Up and down. Again, you have to be really careful with that. It feels really like weighted, really well. Like it feels really good weighted, but you can't really move around the legs. So the kind of, I'd say it's very restrictive. And then up and down. So. Hands like that. That's what they do. And again, the head can turn all the way around. Just be careful. The ponytail kind of restricts it a little bit. It moves up and down. So the figure feels very kind of restrictive, which I don't like. I don't know if the original one looks okay and does the same, but even just there, it doesn't want to play well. So I think you're possibly able to pose it once or twice, and that's it. So again, they bend there, there. So yeah, just like all the other figures, we have a look at the faces. Now that, the hair came off really quickly, like it wasn't locking in place. I'm kind of a bit on that one. But I've got to admit, this is a very easy one just to sort out. So this is kind of like, I can't really tell if there's any sort of emotion in this face, even when looking through the lens as well as looking at it directly. It feels like there's just no sort of like kind of emotion in that one. I'm guessing that's her sign for I'm so angry type face. There is a kind of kind of face, just because I know we've gone over one, but I can't. See, this is one thing I've noticed with the figure. I wasn't kind of like paying any attention, like kind of looking at it and going, oh, then this face isn't memorable. So it looks like, I don't know what it is with this. With the last one we saw, I wasn't a big fan of. With this one, I'm a bit with as well. That is a kind of happy face. So again, you get the two different faces. A face, and then kind of a default, I'm not really smiling face. So with these ones, I feel like there's no emotion inside them, which I think's kind of really bad. I would have loved more emotion from them rather than kind of just normalness. Let's put that one on there. They look kind of bland. That's the word I'm looking for. So what I've done here is I've moved to hands what it says in the instruction manual to do, to kind of place it in. So it's very kind of weird that you would have, say for example, like, I don't know, concentration is a thing. You kind of think that with the figure you would have like it attaching properly, or maybe you could put in like these and clip them in like that so they go in there, but that's pretty much how you put in her battle armor, her ship type thing, which is kind of cool. Now I don't know if you can have two, like if you can have like her carry-on as well. Looks like you can. So that's with a box. So it kind of gives extra life to it. I really like the fact that it's attached. And it reminds me of a very old kind of steamboat. Now I can't remember which one that she is in the anime, like what sort of like ship. So if you want to leave it down in the comments, please do so. It kind of adds a bit more to it, so she can like skate her out. And when looking at it, I think it's really cool. I really like the kind of the ports. I think these are to make it go faster, or just to let off steam. And obviously you've got her missiles that come out here, as well as there, or that's her radar. Even when you look at the kind of bottom here, it's kind of really well detailed and adds a lot to the figure. Obviously she doesn't have like any big guns, but still, I think it's a really cool thing to add and give to the figure. Now you also do get this kind of thing, and this has like more, like this is really kind of bendy, so I thought this would be like kind of what these would be like, but these are kind of stiff. So it looks like you can either take it out, I don't know if you can, no you can't, but then again you can probably add it in, but it attaches to a hand, and we're going to have a look at that next. So one thing that I kind of noticed, and I think it's really badly designed, is when you add her handgun in here, like there's no grip, it just goes straight out, and then when you want to place it in, there's no kind of grip to make it look like it's something decent. It just feels very kind of like, even when trying to pose her arm like straight forward, when you try and do something like that, like this, like her arm feels very restricted, like it has to be down like that. Even if you're gonna say point it upwards, like obviously it can reach to some degree that you'd have to try and change it about, but I think that if you had this clipping onto her arm, I think it would be a bit better than having this kind of this like strap. I think it just kind of, for me, it kind of like puts the figure down. Like I wouldn't want to attach something like this. It would just be like, oh, it's a hand kind of cool. Even if you put it all the way to the end, it doesn't stick, and it just feels kind of very lazy. Like it wouldn't stick to a point where it's meant to. So if the hand grip was a bit tighter, I think that would be fine. But to be honest, I would just see it as holding it like that, and that's it. So for this, it's really kind of put a downer on the actual figure for me a little bit. I think that I would only just have her battle thing at the end, and that's about it. So there we go, Rangers. There is Fubuki. And I have to say, I'm not 100% behind this figure. It looks okay, but it looks very different towards the first version of it. When looking at all of this, to me, like the hands, this hand in particular took a long time to kind of pull out. You know, pull the peg out and it wouldn't go back in properly. I kind of think that is a design flaw. Obviously with her hair, it just comes off straight away. There's no kind of grip onto it. So it feels like over time it will just fall out on its own. And also this hand here, even though I found the right hand and it has like the kind of pointing finger, I really wish it would have clipped on, or it is designed. Or even when this thing here, even when her gun goes onto her hand, if they had put a hand under there that made sure that it didn't kind of come off or it wasn't quite loose, I think this would have made the figure better in my eyes, rather than just something like, oh, it's going to come off. Because if you just take this off, that's fine. You know, you've still got a kind of like her engines and stuff. And I kind of like with the whole figure. It's really nice to pose, but the faces as well just are very generic. There's no life in them. And I don't know if that's particularly because of the character in the anime, but to be honest, I like it to add to the collection. It looks fine, but I don't know the reason why they did like a repaint or a version 2 of the thing, because it didn't need it at the time. So if you're just going to get it for the collection, get it for the collection. I wouldn't possibly get it if you're just starting off, because I think you'll be a little bit let down with it. So Rangers, what are your thoughts on this? Do you like the figure? Do you not? Would you get it? Yes, no? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you've liked this video, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the other videos on the channel. If you want to help the channel out on Patreon, then link is in the description down below. And as always, Rangers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.